radio. Shout it.
So now, since another thing that I had to touch on while you was in here, man, was being around the world 4 and 5 times with Lil Jon. Mm-hmm. How the hell did that happen? And then talk to me about seeing the world, because it got to a point where I'm following you on Instagram. This nigga's in Curacao. This nigga's in Moscow.
Funny.
This nigga's in Hong Kong. This nigga's all over the motherfucking world.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Man, shout out to Lil Jon, man. That was an opportunity of a lifetime. He is an iconic dude, man.
My God.
Iconic dude. That was a blessing. Shout out my girl Amy Johnson. She's the one who she's his day-to-day manager. She the one who got me the opportunity. Shout out to Rob, his business partner, and the whole crew, man. Working with Jon was life-changing. He really showed me it changed my life, to be honest with you.
Damn.
He changed my perspective on life, how to view things, and he was like my big brother too. Like we was on the road and he was like my big brother. That's how it was funny. Like, I'm tour managing you, but you
my big brother.
You OG and me. You know what I'm saying? And that's how he was, man. Like, he would give me a lot of advice on like your diet, health, spiritual. That's the type of dude Jon is. I mean, that's just Jon nature. Like, he's an advice giving person. Like, he was like, nah, that's how we gonna do it. He wanted us to eat a certain way. He wanted us to make sure that we hit the gym on the road. And he would tell us he was real into making sure you get your rest. Because Jon, once he do his shows, that's it. Like, and you got to keep up with him. And his energy, you already know how his stage is. And anybody know that done a show with him, like his energy is on a whole nother level. So he like, yo, when I rest, y'all rest, because I'm not stopping. Yeah. So I learned all those kind of things, like especially in management, like to make sure that you understand the habits of the artist that you working with. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, when you're a manager, it's all about their happiness.
So now, talk to me about the places in the world that you saw, man. And see, the shit that was kind of crazy senses, because from watching from the outside, you would go there not once, but you'd be there twice, 3 times in a row. So, I mean, what was the first thing that went through your mind when you were in the middle of Europe and shit like that? And how were they partying different from the party in Atlanta that you've been doing for years?
Well, Atlanta is what kind of like was like school. It was like going to school for the world.
What?
Yeah, because a lot of the music on the hip hop side. See, with Jon, he's an open format DJ, so he's like, he's playing top 40, he's playing EDM. Yeah, like he's Vegas style. Like, but then he has his components where he's playing hip hop, and the hip hop was 95%. Atlanta or Southern, Yeah. And so learning all those things kind of prepared me for the world. And then I'm gonna tell you one thing, like when you around the world, because being in Atlanta, you it's like you used to it. It's like, oh yeah, this is how I be. But when you going over this other side of the world and you over here, you realize how appreciative people are of the culture. They real appreciative of the culture. They real like fanboying type shit. Like, he goes, Gotti, change. They be hype.
What was the craziest shit you seen over them seas, though, since?
The craziest shit? I mean, I've seen shows of 100,000 people. It look like a sea of people. You going to see your different walks of life when it come to that. You around a lot of rich motherfuckers. Yeah. And Jon taught me a lot about that too. Like, man, you around a lot of rich motherfuckers. These niggas think differently. They motherfuckers be different.
How do rich niggas think?
I mean,
well, rich motherfuckers think.
It's a different kind of rich. Like, yeah, you got your hip hop rich and you around your hip hop. Yeah. But then when you around the motherfuckers that own shit, the billionaire motherfuckers that's partying with you. You know what I mean? I'm partying with what's my man that own the Mavericks? What's his name?
Mark Cuban.
I'm partying with I done met him. He partied with us. I done partied with the owner of the Rockets. I can't remember his name. I was chilling with the owner of the Sacramento Kings, having dinner with him, and he invented Real Time, the app Real Time, and he's showing me. I'm watching this motherfucker make $100,000 a minute.
Damn.
And he got a thing on the screen. He like, look, we sitting at a table like this. He got this little private room. Jon had to perform at the Kings Rockets. It was a Kings Rockets halftime. Jon had to perform. So the owner's like, come back with us. In the back of the stadium, in a little pocket of the stadium. It's like this little secret back cave room. It opens up and it's like this chef and it's this big ass ballroom table and it's the owner of the Sacramento Kings. He's like, oh man, come, the Indian guy, I can't remember his name. He's like, oh, come, sit with us, sit down. Get what you want. He was like, look, this is how I made my fortune, real time. And then it's just this, it's showing how much money he's making all over the world.
In real time.
So it's like, oh yeah, his King's concession stands. It was just going up like a lottery. It was just numbers just going. I'm looking at the shit. It's going 100,000, 101,000, 102,000, 103,000, 104,000. And it's showing every country. And because he was Indian, so I saw that he was popping in India too. He had an India market.
Yeah.
So India was like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Then it's like LA, 1,000, 3,000, 4,000. Vegas, 1,000, and it was just all showing everything he made that was associated with the Sacramento Kings. Like, that shit was crazy. And I'm looking, and then it shows the total numbers, and the motherfucker already made like $300,000 while we sat at the damn table.
Oh shit!
Different level of rich. Different level of rich.
So, what are the thoughts that go through these people's heads that were different from my po ass head?
That they normal as a motherfucker and they just figured something out.
Oh,
they normal as a motherfucker and they just figured some shit out. And they don't be really that. They don't really be that. They'll tell you how they did it. They ain't all like this. What? The motherfuckers I was around.
Yeah.
And this is all different nations. This was black, white, Asian. They really wasn't the people that my experience.
Yeah.
You know, you gonna have your racism and all of that, but the way we was moving, you know, I guess because John was such an iconic person and he was the star of that night, performing at some kind of halftime or whatever.
Yeah,
they was just like, yeah, this is how we did it, and we did it like this. And I would be around somebody like that every weekend. Like my first show with John, my very first show, we did the Grand Prix in the Monte Carlo, and the party was with Lewis Hamilton and Justin Bieber. That was the first event I did with him, the Grand Prix in Monte Carlo.
And I laugh because you did that a few times since, because that was the one I was trying to remember when I was going to ask you, because I remember the first time it was crazy.
Yeah.
Then the second time, like, this nigga does this shit every other goddamn week.
And that's when John, that's his, and we did stuff like that. We did whatever was the top a venue in any country. I mean, we was in Manila, Philippines. We did this big ass casino called Cove in the Philippines, and it was John. And that's when I knew what artists were relevant around the world, who I saw. Like we did shows with Chris Brown. Chris Brown was definitely. Yeah. We did a couple shows with him. Nelly. People be trying to act like Nelly ain't as relevant, but he popping in different countries.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? 50 Cent definitely. He was in Monte Carlo too.
Yeah.
Out of Atlanta, Migos, we did shows with him. Yo Gotti, Rick Ross, you know what I mean? So it's certain artists that you would see like that was really making a wave